Let's begin by taking a look at the front page of the Huffington Post, where we've been covering the latest on the Boston bombing suspects. According to NBC, Boston bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev told investigators in writing Monday that neither he nor his older brother were in touch with any overseas terror groups. Two U.S. officials say preliminary evidence from an interrogation suggests the suspects were motivated by their religious views, but were apparently not tied to any Islamic terrorist groups. This is really interesting information, and I am curious how it complicates the narrative around this and also the legal case around it.
In some ways, it makes it more interesting, right? Because now suddenly we can't just look to Al-Qaeda or these individual stateless terrorist groups as a source of all of our problems. But in some ways, it can make things even wilder and more reckless in terms of the type of xenophobia that will emerge. Because now it's like, it's not just that you're Al-Qaeda, just any radical Muslim now will be looked at as a, as a
right. I think it complicates
person.
things for the Muslim community that has tried for a very long time to disentangle this notion of a religion that teaches tolerance, kindness, and a perverted notion of that faith.
No, I think you're absolutely right. The one thing that we can push back and say is, even though he wasn't tied to any terrorist group, he was still they were still radicalized. We know that for sure. They still had extremist views, and they were still connected to a tradition in Russia and here in the United States that was very much Islamist. So it's still Al-Qaeda ideology. It's still terrorist and jihadist ideology, even if it wasn't tied to a particular organization. So we still don't have to lump all of Islam in. I hope that's what they need to be telling people.
Absolutely, and yet I do think, as you said, it ratchets up people's fear and understanding that this can be completely homegrown.
Oh yeah, and that actually scares me a little bit, I must admit, because I'm wondering what's going on in the United States right now where people can be here domestically, be full citizens, and still become part of this kind of radical movement.